Hi everyone, welcome back to True Astrology podcast. My name is Nicole.
And I'm Dave.
Today we're gonna talk about very exciting axis, which is the Leo and Aquarius. Dave, can you actually introduce about this axis a little bit before we start?
Leo and Aquarius axis is all about connection. And it's about individuality versus the collective. It's about self-expression versus community. So Leo Aquarius axis invites us to balance personal creativity with the collective progress. So Leo is ruled by the sun, and it thrives on authenticity, passion, and the courage to shine, aligning us with the confidence and charisma of the strength card. Aquarius, on the other hand, is ruled by Saturn and Uranus, and they are all about innovation, social change, and the power of groups, which echoes the visionary energy of the star card. And from May 2008 to October 2009, Aquarius North Node urged us to focus on collaboration, humanitarian efforts, and forward-thinking ideals, while its prior Leo cycle from April 1999 to October 2000 highlighted self-expression, leadership, and the courage to stand out. So in this episode, we're going to explore how these cycles shaped our relationship with individuality, innovation, and the balance between personal purpose and collective growth.
And another exciting part about this axis is because we are actually living in under Age of Aquarius influence. And back in the history of the humanity, when humanity was living in the cave, right? So they known to first humanity, they were the one who living in the age of Leo. People or the humanity lived in that time was looking for the future, looking at the sky. They dreamed of what is the future looks like. And we are actually living in their future, right? And this axis also bring really important topic, which is the humanness. And we're gonna dive into about more into this podcast. Let's go. Let's dive into the Leo, the fifth house. So in astrology, it governs a fifth house. And it's all about passion, right? So, for example, I see a lot of people who has a fifth house happy people has a lot of hobby or they have a lot of fun or they actually working in the theater industry because of Leo represent the Hollywood star, theater, something stage related performance activities.
That's right. It's where they can show their self-expression and their performance in front of an audience, and the audience being Aquarius. Another theme about Leo is children, because children is the ultimate creation.
Yeah, so the people has a lot of planets there, or the conjunction between the partner, they seems carry a lot of their offspring. So people we know have like seven kids.
Yeah.
And like she has a like heavy fifth house energy.
Also, another friend has a daycare, and he has a stellium in the fifth house.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because if you don't have a much kids, but you can manifest that energy through teaching children or surrounded by a lot of kids. And that's why the fifth house of a Leo talked about a lot of inner child energy as well, or the dream that we used to have when we were young. Because especially when we were young, we don't really worry about the money and rent and paying bills. All we express at that age is what we love, just laugh and just enjoy the life, you know?
Yeah.
So Leo carries a lot of the energy. So some negative part about the having too much Leo energy is people can be a little bit childish.
Or have a huge ego.
Exactly. And because of this well-known archetype, people who act like a king or diva, they act like a lion king, basically, right?
Yeah.
So that's a negative side of it. And let's go into the tarot card about this fifth house.
In tarot, Leo's astrological correspondence is the number 8 card, which is the strength card.
And this is one of the very confusing cards to many people who just starting to connecting that between tarot and astrology, because Leo is well known for self-expression. They want to be the center of the attention. They want to be the brightest and shinest person in the stage. That's why they usually have a big hairstyle, very
Yeah.
like glamorous, like a style and makeup and everything. But in the card, Leo is literally simply opened mouth by the lady in
Yeah,
the
the
picture.
lion is being tamed by the
Exactly.
woman.
It's not really like a Leo. You know what I mean? If you want to understand more about it, so in the ancient time, especially ancient Egyptian time, when you see the like a ancient picture or how they describe about the our universe, they thought the Virgo constellation and Leo constellation as a one constellation. So people talk about there's a 13 zodiac sign being Ophiuchus. I mean, when you actually see the astronomy and how our Earth is rotating, there's like a huge chunk of a part, Earth going into the Ophiuchus. So it is right. However, the energy we have in the 3D Earth is most likely 12 because in the ancient Egyptian, they thought the Leo and Virgo was in the same sign. Later, they divided a more detail-oriented, like two different signs. So that's why in the tarot card, we see both Leo and the Virgo at the
Yeah.
same time.
Hmm.
And then when you actually see Virgo, Virgo is depicted by sage, it's not virgin, right?
Hmm.
So that's a little bit of confusion, but if you understand why and you know why the writer, wait, the creator of this tarot image put that images into the cards. In the astronomy, so there is Virgo and Leo, they're connected. And then there's another constellation called Hydra is right below. And when you actually Google about the Virgin Mary painting, there's a lot of painting that Virgin Mary is stepping on the snake, right? So where does that snake comes from? It's actually from the constellation Hydra, because in the sky it actually looks like Virgo is stepping onto it.
So when we look at the constellation of Virgo and Leo, in one artistic rendition, we can see Virgo actually holding Leo's tail. And so it's an indication that Virgo is taming the lion. And therefore, in the card, it shows Virgo taming the lion's mouth, right? So it's just another variation of Virgo and Leo being combined. And so when we look at some keywords relating to the positive attributes of Leo, it's about inner strength, courage, compassion, resilience, and patience.
And also Leo being a fire sign, need to really express that inner fire energy because Virgo, the Virgin, shows in this strength card that she's wearing white gown and she's wearing all the flowers and like leaves around her clothing and her headpiece. She looks very fragile, but yet she's really calmly controlling her emotion and taming the lion. And that's the kind of knowledges that we have to learn from this card.
When we get into Virgo in the next episode, we're going to talk about the correlation between Virgo and the wise sage. When I look at Virgo and Leo together, it's about wisdom, taming that fire. And instead of it being driven by ego, it's really driven by wisdom
Yeah,
and
wisdom.
knowledge, right? That's how this energy can be used in its highest expression.
Let's talk about the infinity sign on the head of the lady Virgo.
Yeah, so this is the same infinity symbol that we see in the magician card,
Exactly.
the archetype. So when we look at Virgo, the infinity symbol, it's about the infinite potential within this 3D realm.
And also to me, this infinity sign is drawing the universal energy because when the magician came to this 3D, let there be light, and then created a reality, right? Using the infinite possibility of the universe energy into the physical world. And often we forgot about our magic power. And especially when we need to go through some kind of unknown or fear or some kind of something we never done that
Yeah,
before,
like a challenge.
yeah, then we really need that inner strength and inner fire, right? So that when we are going through that moment, that we're actually creating that infinity sign within us to drawing that universal power.
Let's talk about the planetary ruler of Leo. And of course, it's the sun, right? So the sun is what gives all life on this planet. And so that's why when I think about Leo and people who have Leo's sun in their astrological charts, they're usually like very bright, they're very courageous, or
Generally, they have a lot of energy though, like a physical
yeah,
energy,
hmm
and they're like really driven by daytime
yeah,
because the sun is the
hmm
brightest in the daytime,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, and also when you look at Leo season in August, that's when like everybody's out doing their
Oh
hobbies,
yeah.
they're going on
Yeah,
vacation.
the peak of the vacation time,
Yeah,
right?
right. So people are going on summer holidays. So it's really an expression of that Leo archetype.
And not only that, when you actually see the correspondence in the tarot, is the sun card. So in the sun card, we see the child on the horse, right? So we talked about the Leo representing inner child and talking about the pure passion when we used to have when we were young without any worries. And the sun card has that all the picture, and there's a like a sunflower and there's a big giant sun is a shining it as a background. The card really gives the energy of the royalty and leadership, creativity and confidence and expression.
So every planet in astrology rules two signs, except for the sun and the moon, because they are the two luminaries. So the sun gives light during the day and the moon gives light during the night.
And wherever sun goes brings our ego and expression and pure joy. That's why sun astrology is really popular. It's a fraction of the astrology. However, it's most popular astrology at the moment because everyone know their sun sign,
Of
right?
course, yeah.
Because the sun brings our, yeah, like a pure loyalty,
Yeah.
leadership, creativity, and ego expression and
Yeah.
confidence and things like that.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, the horoscopes in the newspapers and magazines are always in the entertainment section,
Yeah, it's a fifth
right?
house.
And Leo rules entertainment. So isn't
Exactly.
that kind of funny how even the way it's projected to the masses is through the entertainment and having fun and keeping it
Exactly.
lighthearted.
Let's talk about the 11th house. 11th house is really interesting because it sits in the mid section of the last quadrant because it's a waning energy. And in the season, this is like a entering the winter season actually. So in tropical astrology standpoint, during this time, what's happening? People usually starting to save, right?
Hmm.
In the agricultural like age, this is a time that we are counting how many, let's say, bag of wheat we have.
Inventory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like we're counting inventories
Yeah.
and how many winter days have been left,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna starting to counting people's head, how many peoples we have, how many food we have, how much water we can have, and like people are starting to planning. So that's the season of the Aquarius. So the 11th house carries a lot about this. So that's why Aquarius is talking about the hope and wishes and long-term goals, and as well as the fairness. So this fairness probably comes from the, when people are like a counting head and how many food they have and how much food they can distribute equally and things like that.
And currently we're in Aquarius season.
Yeah, so a lot of fairness comes out, like a men and women we're equal or like gender or like you name it. So a lot of people are like talking about that.
And also, when I think about Aquarius season, it's when a lot of the overstock that didn't sell during the holidays, they go on sale and clearance.
But that's more Pisces, don't you think? Because it first went to sale, and then Pisces is usually
Sorry.
fire sale.
I would say the sale is during Capricorn season, right? Boxing Week.
Yeah,
And
but that
then
they usually have a highest
and
value.
then clearance would be during Aquarius season. And then donations would be in Pisces
Or like a
season.
fire sale, like a 90%
Yeah,
off,
yeah,
just
yeah.
like
Store closing,
yeah,
things like
yeah,
that.
that's more like a Pisces.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I do agree with you, the sales starting in Aquarius season, but however, people's in saving mode. They're not buying, even though Christmas overstock went to 30% or 40% sale during the Aquarius season. People are not buying. People usually buy in the Pisces season when everything is like 80% off. I guess part of us know it will go further sale and a lot of people are waiting. But yeah, Aquarius, yeah, it's more like a rationing time. So when this energy is manifesting into the entire country, and then we can say that country has a communist energy, because a communist country, they usually talk about the equality, everyone's the same, everyone wears the same uniform, everyone has a like same wage and like no one is a better than the other. So that's the Aquarian energy. And also like it can go into the darker side of Aquarian theme, but the positive side is again is about the hope and it's about the inspiration, it's about the healing, optimism and serenity and also innovation. And where the innovation comes from is from the one of the ruler Uranus. But however, when you're rationing, you have to be innovative
That's
about it,
right. Yeah, yeah.
right? And then one of the movie that the guy actually survived the accident in the Mars by himself, and he had to innovate in his own farm in the Mars like kind of base.
Yeah, so that was the movie The Martian
Oh
with Matt
yeah.
Damon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like he had to like creating fertilizer from his
Yeah.
own like, shit and then he had to grow the potato to feed himself. So when you have like a less resources, you become really creative, right?
Yeah.
So all the creative like people or artists, they just create something out of nothing or when they were the lowest. So that creation or innovation is from the Uranus, and Uranus actually brings the genius, a mad
Yeah.
scientist, or like a quantum leap kind of energy. Before we actually jump into this Uranus, let's talk about a little more about the 11th house. 11th house is the fixed air energy. Talk about our long-term goals, and this long-term goals or like community types of energy is directly from the fifth house. It's a like-minded people's
Community.
community.
Yeah.
So how you're gonna meet like-minded community? Usually through your hobby and your passion, what you like,
Yeah.
right? So that's actually coming through your fifth house of your Leo.
Yeah. All the things that you enjoy in life and all the hobbies and stuff, you start to share that within a social group. And
Yeah,
that's
let's
how you
say,
form that 11th
yeah,
house.
yeah, because a hobby is governed by fifth house,
Yeah.
and then you have a hobby as a bike, and you're gonna meet all the bikers in the bikers group in the 11th house.
Yeah.
So you start with there, and then you move into the 11th house. But if you have a wrong 11th house, it's gonna give you lots of trouble, because it's not you're not like-minded in that group.
So you have a hard time fitting in, and that means you have to go back to that fifth house
And
to
then
really authentically find out what you're truly passionate about so that you could reform that 11th house again.
exactly. And the interesting thing about the community or a communist country is it's like a organized very well with a structure. Lots of community has a rule. Like, welcome to our community, here's our rule, right? So the ruler, Saturn, is really strong in the setting up the foundation there. But again, if you feel like you're not belonging to there, and if you want to change something, the other ruler, Uranus, is kicks in to within us.
Traditionally, Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn and Aquarius. But when we look at modern rulership, Uranus became the co-ruler of Aquarius. And so from a modern standpoint, Saturn and Uranus co-rules Aquarius.
Yeah, they have to work together,
Yeah.
but between their relationship is really interesting because Saturn wanna maintain, and Saturn rules a time and kind of something used to work. So Saturn doesn't want to change, but Uranus always want to change so that two energies always mixed in together. And this is really big deal in 11th house or just astrology itself because we have a Saturn and Uranus conjunction happens every 45 years. And that conjunction is building blocks of our financial and society structure. Yeah. So every 45 years, there is a like structure built by Saturn, and Uranus comes and it destroy everything and try to build a new thing, right?
I wouldn't say it completely destroys, but definitely upgrades.
Upgrade.
Yeah,
But like
yeah.
Uranus is a very rebellious sign, and Uranus like literally is the sign that I don't care. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
my way, highway,
Yeah.
like brings all the like changes.
I see Pluto as the planet of destruction and Uranus more as like innovation. So sometimes there is a shock to the system that just happens. And then us as a collective society, we have to just deal with innovation and creating something better so that we can move forward in our long-term goals. So I really see this 45-year cycle as evolution. And every time Saturn and Uranus within that 45 years make aspects to each other, especially the squares, that's when we start to really see the tension build up between the two energies.
So basically, the current cycle we're in under the Saturn and Uranus conjunction happened 1988, right?
Yeah.
So the bankers and government, or the money system that ruled by Saturn and maintained by Saturn is now about to change with Uranus. And so we're actually see this a lot. A lot of Gen Zs are using non-traditional bank, and they grew up with a like iPad, iPhone. So they're like a technologically very advanced, and they see all the system of the money or government, how banking system feels like unnecessary. So they're like voluntarily already forming some kind of a movement in online, and oh, I'm using this kind of third party banking and I don't really have to pay any of the fee. And this is a lot easier. I don't know why you guys pay so much fees and interest charge on this, and I'm doing that. And I see that kind of movement a lot in the younger generation.
Yeah, that's right. And when you look at the last time Saturn and Uranus came together, they were in the sign of Sagittarius. So in 1988, we saw the themes of globalization start to be the focus. And what happened like in 1988? Like
Korea's World Cup, not World Cup, sorry,
Summer
like
Olympics.
Summer Olympics.
Yeah,
So
and
now
Korea like boomed
I know.
since
So
those
now
Olympics.
the globalization is like almost peaked
Yeah.
because everyone knows Korea, everyone knows
K-pop,
K-pop,
Samsung,
yeah, like
Hyundai.
yeah,
Yeah.
like it's culturally really popular
Yeah.
right now. But the upcoming conjunction will be
In
like
2032.
in Gemini.
Yes.
Gemini is all about the local community, localization, right? So this energy will happen and build our financial and society building blocks of that. So it will be really important to understand the ruler of the 11th house.
Yeah, so as this energy is waning towards 2032, we'll really start to see this Gemini-like energy of localization just get stronger. And we already see it through Donald Trump's inauguration. He's like saying he's going to impose these hefty import taxes. So what's happening? So before it was all about globalization. Let's take our product across the world and let's do everything through China. But now it's like, hey, if you import through China, now we're going to tax you with heavy levies, right? Like 25%, 50%. And now it's like a tax war amongst countries saying,
That's really
yeah,
interesting because when I was making the like globalization to localization, so yeah, globalization is easy. You just expand, you just go to the world, you just sell your merchandise to the worldwide. But since we are living in the globalization world, then how are you gonna make that localization? I was really curious about it, but when I see Donald Trump announcing about the tax, then it hit me. Yeah, when you put a heavy tax on the each border, then yeah, your people gonna just automatically focusing on the localization.
yeah,
People
yeah.
wanna just consume local made and like a homegrown or like a within the country made, right? Like we're going into a little bit far-fetched, far more like a topic than this axis. But my point is this 11th house ruler is our building blocks of the society, which is the Saturn and Uranus. Saturn and Uranus conjunction, they create the huge story in the universe, I mean, the world, and creating a lot of changes, the world we're living in. So we're gonna see that changes very soon in 2032, right? So the understanding about the two ruler is really important,
Yeah, it's
basically.
fascinating.
Yeah, and in the mythology, the Saturn is really well known for like a father figure. We talked about it a lot, but actually Saturn's father is a Uranus. So it's about the father and the father's fight, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Your father and your grandfather fight.
Yeah, yeah. So Uranus is the sky god,
Yeah.
and Saturn is the son of the sky god. But then Saturn basically castrates his father Uranus, and so it's just been like a ongoing karmic battle between the
Yeah,
two.
so the Uranus actually brings the gender neutrality. So I'm not the man, I'm not the woman, I'm not this gender, that gender. The concept or the idea or the energy is coming from the Uranus. So Uranus doesn't have any gender.
Well, genitalia.
Yeah,
He has a gender, but
exactly.
he doesn't have genitalia.
However, in the mythology, when the Saturn threw father's genitalia into the earth, so the part went into the earth and part went into the ocean, and both grew with a more, I guess, species, more like a beings,
Yeah, and
right?
if you look at the star card, you can see that this nude individual
Yeah.
has 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on the earth.
And then you can't really tell this is a woman
Well, it
and
looks like a woman to me, right?
yeah,
'Cause-
but yeah,
yeah,
like it's yeah. So gender neutrality is
yeah.
yeah, it's there.
The
Definitely.
Saturn, the world card, is actually a gender neutral
Yeah,
figure.
yeah, exactly. The world
Yeah,
card,
yeah.
that being surrounded by red.
The ribbon, yeah,
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
wreath, yeah,
yeah, has a gender neutral. And also the sun card,
yeah,
the child is gender neutral too,
as
because
well.
of our inner core of our essence of our soul doesn't have a gender because of the gender men and women and yin and yang, good and bad. Everything is coming from the duality, and then when you actually ascend from this 3D, and then we become the unity consciousness. In the unity consciousness, everything is a one.
Yeah.
So that is the knowledge about it. And also the Uranus actually has the UFO and our brothers and sisters in the universe. So they might don't have a gender too. They might have a both gender at the same time. So it carries all the different things, different being energy. It might be from Pleiades, it might from the, I don't know, like Grace, who knows? And also Uranus is really interesting energy because of it's a Saturn's father doesn't have a genitalia, but created more kids into the earth just by throwing his genitalia into the earth. So has a artificial
Insemination.
insemination energy as well. So more we're going deeper into the age of Aquarius, then we're gonna see more conception by artificial way or like a scientifical advanced types of way.
And if you look at when Pluto was in Leo, we had all the baby boomers, and that was post World War II. So a lot of the children were just all through natural conception. But now that Pluto is in Aquarius, a lot of that conception can be done through artificial
And
means.
then the population is getting significantly small. And our grandparents era, there's like 7 siblings, 10 siblings, or like at least four. There's only child was very rare at the time, but
Yeah.
now majority of family either don't have any kids or one kid.
Yeah, it's the opposite.
It's
So
opposite.
now if you have like 7 to 10 children, you're like social media stars on TikTok, you know?
I know exactly. It's a very rare family. At the very beginning of this podcast, I talk about this axis, actually talk about the humanness. It's because of the Uranus brings the scientifical advancement in human life. So we're gonna expect a lot of life expansion and some kind of advanced technology through some kind of like research. For example, like a human eye can see only 2.0 vision, but they're gonna crack the code in the universe. Like we can increase the vision just like a bird or some kind of other animal, you know. We're gonna grow infinite number of our teeth, so we don't have to go to dentist. We're gonna like increase our DNA lifespan, so people's gonna live like 200 years or 400 years. We're gonna see something like that. But when you're starting to upgrade our body, think about it. Like, when is the line between organic human and then scientifically advanced human? So in the movie, when I was growing up, I saw a lot of cyborg movies. So
Like the Terminator.
I mean, like, let's start with a half human, half machine,
Yeah.
right? So when does it determine it's a human and the robot? When you swap your brain to artificial intelligent brain, does that person still human or like, like
Yeah.
a robot? Or if you upload your consciousness into the cloud, which people are talking about it already, then are you like really human or are you part cyborg?
Well, the idea is to have the consciousness live on forever. And so if you look at like Futurama, they have all of these celebrities in test tubes and they're like talking heads that keep on talking. So you can see the idea is already out there.
Exactly. And also, Aquarius focuses on brain and idea and science, and the Leo focuses on the heart. So this is a between heart and brain axis as well. So when we're focusing on too much Aquarian energy, and we're gonna lose heart. The people's heart gonna be really cold, and our head gonna be really big. So the one of the worry in the astrological community is people will become cyborg. People will forget about what is mean by true to be human.
And if you look at another reference in Hollywood, again, Hollywood is also ruled by Leo. You can see that in Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. has a synthetic heart.
Yep.
Right? So that's also a Leo and Aquarius type of movie because the rest of his body is human, but then his heart is synthetic. And if his synthetic heart stops working, then it kills the human side of him. So you can
Exactly.
see that moving forward, the concept of having a synthetic heart might become pretty common, right? So the idea in Hollywood or the planting the seed is already there and has been there for decades now, right? So
Exactly.
you can see that conceptually, these ideas have been out in the mainstream and we just weren't aware of it. But like now, when you see a lot of people having heart problems, what do you think the
Mm,
solution is going to be,
exactly.
right? So,
And also, people who practice spirituality or like a chakra system knows the heart is the gateway to awakening our consciousness. Heart is really important part of the ascension from the ancient Egyptian people. So we cannot really forget about heart. So this axis is really connecting the dot between the heart-brain connection. And there's many great teachers out there to talking about how to do it, bringing heart-brain connection. So the one of the famous people is Dr. Joe Dispenza. He talks about the heart-brain connection, doing visualization and using a lot of techniques. And if you're interested, maybe check him out. And again, so the sum it up, this axis bringing our passion and future hope and wishes, planning for our new beginning. Again, because of this is sits in the middle of the last quadrant, is a waning energy, and all the scientific advancement and all the innovation is actually preparing for the next era, next generation. So we need to understand about that knowledges as well. And one thing I really want to emphasize is like we cannot just only focusing on breaking through all the difficulties, the challenges in our life through technology. We just sometimes have to go into the our heart space and bringing our inner power. Just like the strength card, we have to bringing our that drawing the infinity universal energy and going through the challenges and breaking through like that. You know what I mean?
yes, and I think that people will become more aware of their own natural intelligence and knowing that we are all connected in this world. And we'll see more and more topics of people talking about remote viewing and just being able to use technology through our own,
Consciousness.
yeah, through our own
So
consciousness.
this is a like a scientific technology versus human nature technology,
Yeah, yeah,
basically. Yeah, I mean, like
yeah,
I will always prefer the human nature technology. It's
yeah,
already there.
yeah,
Like I just have to tap into.
yeah.
But again, so the scientific advancement technology is that you always have to maintain, you always have to upgrade,
Mm-hmm.
and one part is not working, then the other part have to be replaced,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then
Yeah.
with the solar flare, that all the machinery cannot work. So
Mm-hmm.
like there's so many issues.
Yeah.
So like I rather go into the something already there within me
Mm-hmm.
than upgrade myself with a computer or things like that.
Yeah.
Lastly, before we ending this podcast, I just want to talk about the Aquarius is represented by cryptocurrency, right? So cryptocurrency chart is also up and down and very unpredictable, just like the sign Aquarius as well. And actually, we're gonna talk about the age of Aquarius and cryptocurrency more in depth once we finish this Axis series. So we're really excited about it because we are also have a heavy Aquarian energy in our chart. So we are really drawn into that energy as well. Stay tuned for that. And let's end this podcast for now. I know this like exciting Axis. We can talk about it hours and hours, but we have a more time to unfold this energy. So thank you so much for listening our podcast today. And if you guys have any question, let us know. And again, stay tuned for our upcoming podcast series about the age of Aquarius and cryptocurrency. Thank you so much for listening and bye for
Bye for
now.
now.